Hey everyone, I want to talk about goals. No surprise there, right? I read an article recently that mentioned the biggest reason why most people don't set goals is because they're afraid. They're afraid. It's fear that holds us back. And I got to wondering about that. What is it that people are afraid of? You know, it's a piece of paper. So, what, paper cuts? I don't know. Actually, I think I do know. I think it's the fear of failure. It's an intangible, right? There's nothing scary about setting a goal, after all. You write it down on a piece of paper and you go about your business. You go to work at it and you achieve it or you don't achieve it. There's nothing, there's nothing scary about that. The thing that I think bothers people is if they write it down, now they have to achieve it or they feel like they've failed. They feel like they've come up short. And that's probably why you hear me talk a lot about failure and the importance of being able to pick yourself back up, dust off your sleeves, and get back to work. So don't let fear of anything hold you back. One of the things that makes me uncomfortable is putting myself out there. I don't know why that is. Probably an insecurity. I think we all have some level of insecurities in our lives of, what are people going to think? What are, people going to think I'm weird, or I think people going to disagree with me, or people going to come out of nowhere with some research that I should have read about that I'm sitting here preaching like, you got to do goals this way, you got to do this is the best way. And then someone comes out with this article or something and says, did you notice that, research points this direction? And you know what? I'm going off of my experience in my life and what I've read cumulatively. And you have to do the same. At some point, you have to have enough self-confidence to step out and do something. And you can't let fear of anything hold you back. If you do, you're just going to live with regret. And you're going to live not having achieved your full potential. And how sad is that? Right? So let's dive in a little deeper here. Really, if I were to ask you, let's say you and I are having a conversation and you come to me and you say, I don't achieve goals or I don't set goals because I'm afraid. And I would say, well, okay, what exactly are you afraid of? And you might say, I'm afraid of setting a goal and not achieving it, becoming a failure and having that tarnish my image of myself, my self-image. I don't want to mess with that. I already have a bad enough self-image, and the last thing I need is to carry around these goals that I'm not achieving, and I feel guilty because I'm not achieving them. You ever felt that? So maybe that's your response. And I would say to you this, all right? Two things. I would say, first of all, you've got to set goals that get you fired up. If your goal is an inconvenience in your life, you set a goal and you're just not doing it because it's not, so you carry around this guilt, this burden, this fear of failure. Well, your goals aren't firing you up enough. You've got to set goals that you get excited about. And if you're not excited about it, don't set the goal. Spend a little more time figuring out what you want to do with your life, and then set the goal around something that gets you fired up, okay? Your goals have to be exciting to you. If they're not exciting to you, you're exactly right. You're not going to work towards them. You're not going to do anything about them, and they're just going to sit there, and you're going to feel guilty because it's not in alignment with your passion. Now, I've struggled a lot about this whole follow your passion thing. I've wondered about it because I question everything. I don't take any bit of advice at face value. I always question it. I always dig deeper and find out if there's truth to it or if there's not, because there's a lot of crappy stuff out there floating around, and some of it is what I would call wisdom with a D-U-M-B, and we think it's wisdom with D-O-M, and so we take it to heart, and it's bad advice. So follow your passion kind of falls under that category. It's a little bit under the red flag for me because there's some truth to it, but there's some of it is just kind of thrown around. So the part that I do like, though, is the energy you get by aligning yourself with your goals when they are exciting to you, when your goals are aligned with your passion, your goals will fire you up. And you'll be excited to move forward, and you'll naturally look for ways to accomplish them. You'll be thinking about them a lot. You'll be writing them down every day. Okay? If your goals aren't exciting enough, get more exciting goals. That's point number one. Point number two is your goals might be too far out there. If you have a fear of failure and you're constantly under that fear, and you're not an expert at setting goals, and you haven't done this a lot, and you haven't achieved your goals in the past, and you failed in the past, and that's why the failure is looming over your head, well, chances are your goals were too far out there. There's nothing wrong with setting a goal 3 months from now that's just a nice, doable, it'll stretch you a little, but it's a doable goal. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't have to be around the moon and back. Okay, maybe someday, but goal setting and goal achieving is an acquired skill that you can develop. And if you've never done it well before, cut yourself a little slack. You know, you don't have to be a millionaire next week or next month or even next year if you've never made $1 million before. That is a fantastic goal that's going to push you away. But only set the goal to be $1 million if you've only made, $500,000 or $750,000. You shouldn't be starting from zero and pushing yourself, because all you're doing is setting yourself up for failure. And because the goal is so big in the back of your mind, you live with that looming doubt, and then you have that fear of failure. And I think that's where the fear of failure comes. One of those two or both of those reasons. You have set the goal too big, or the goal isn't exciting enough to you. I can't think of anything else that it would fall under that would cause a fear of failure. Now, if you've never done goal setting before, goal achieving before, which are, by the way, two different things, little insight there, I'll talk about it in another episode. If you've never set or achieved your goals before, that's okay. You just follow a system. I've got it all buttoned down, 3x5goals.com. You can go there and learn how I do it. Everything is there. It's very simple. But my advice, set something that's achievable. Start. If you're doing baby steps and you're just starting out, pick a goal, one main goal that's 2 months away, even 1 month away. I know it sounds bad for me to say, it sounds like I'm saying dream small, and I'm not. I'm saying dream confidently. Get a win under your belt. Do something, set something and achieve it so you can pat yourself on the back, figuratively speaking. You don't dwell there, but you can feel good legitimately about having made progress. That is so important, because once you start making progress, you start having confidence in yourself. And then you start expanding your goals, and you start saying to yourself, instead of, oh, I don't know if I can do that, you start going, I think I can do this. And your self-talk changes from negative to positive because you got a few wins under your belt. You got to get those wins. So let those be small if you're a beginner. Don't be afraid of baby steps, or don't feel embarrassed by baby steps. The key is set a goal that you can achieve, set a goal that's exciting that you will achieve it, feel good about it, give yourself a win, pat yourself on the back, and then expand to something a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger. Over the course of many months, even many years, you'll get good at goal setting, and pretty soon you will be tackling those big goals. You'll have everybody else wondering, how are you so good at setting and achieving goals? That's what's going to happen.